So I got a couple good questions from Kerman 3030 from TikTok. He said he started what he was told a bulk session, 4 to 6 weeks of 10 sets of 10 reps at 125 pounds on the flat bench. So he's trying to bulk up the chest. And he got a little worried. He said, I noticed my strength went down after my second week. After my second week. The 195 pounds felt really heavy. Is that normal? Okay, and he said his max is 220 to 225. So do some quick math. 10 sets of 10 at 125 pounds, 4 to 6 weeks. He's doing 55%. At the end of 4 to 6 weeks, 10 sets of 10, and you try to max out, then you it's very unlikely that you'll get any stronger, and it is likely that you'll see a little decrease there. Not much. Should be able to maintain for the most part. Um, so uh, in that scenario, yes, the bulk phase you started, had you finished it, I would expect a little bit of strength loss. Um, However, you did say at the end of your second week. That's really not a long enough time, so I wouldn't be worried yet. And even 4 to 6 is pretty fast, so still wouldn't get too worried about it overall. But at the end of the second week, it's unlikely you had lost any strength yet. Um, what the difficulty in hitting that 195, which is probably about 80% of your max, where that came from was just most likely recovery. Uh, 10 sets of 10 is going to kill the nervous system. It's probably going to do equal amount of damage to the muscle fibers. That's why it was suggested as a bulking template, because it should have made you pretty sore. And when you're sore, you know your muscle fibers are damaged. And if they're damaged, then in theory they should grow back bigger. They should grow back stronger. All right, so that I wouldn't get too worried about losing strength there. Now, if you want to gain strength and build muscle at the same time, it's definitely possible. I'm a big fan of concurrent training. That's what you would call it. I don't really like doing one thing to the extreme. I love keeping things balanced because you can especially with today's CrossFitters, we've shown that you can still build everything to a very elite level without doing isolated periodization. Okay, for example, it used to be thought that you couldn't run a 5 minute mile and get a 500 pound deadlift. You had to focus on one or the other, do them separately because one will take away from the other. But now we have CrossFitters that can do it. So a lot of myths out there have been busted that still persist to this day. You don't have to um, forego strength training to bulk. All right, and one of the reasons is strength training and hypertrophy have more in common than they have differences. So a lot of the reps and sets and percentages are going to be the same. So what makes you stronger will also make you bigger, and vice versa, more often than not. Now, if you want to go to the extreme, you're a strongman, powerlifter, Olympic weightlifter, you're going to have to do a lot of work at 80% or higher in order to push up your 1 rep maxes. Um, where bodybuilders don't need to ever touch that rep range. Okay, they don't need to take that risk. They can work out anywhere between 30 to 80% of their 1 rep max on any movement. And just I would just recommend doing a balanced amount of different percentages. Okay. The the one of the super important criteria for bulking and strength training, once again, what they have in common is you need to hit sets to failure. You need enough reps under time, tension. You need enough stress to force that muscle to grow. You need to throw a stimulus at it that it is forced to adapt to. Okay, and we've discovered through trial and error that it's 3 to 6 sets of um, say 8 to 12 reps when you're doing strength training, doing weights. Okay, to make the muscle grow on average, and the strength training is not much different. Okay, so uh, one principle I'd always keep in mind, it's a tried and true principle. It's the SAID principle, specific adaptation to imposed demands. Whatever your specific goal is, make sure you're creating that type of environment, exposing it to that target. Okay, for example, if you're strength training, you're going to have to lift heavier weights. If you're doing 30%, 40%, 55% all the time, you're never going to get good at 80% or 90% or 100. Okay. Now, if you're bodybuilding, what's the goal? The goal's a little more broad, but there's still a specific uh, adaptation you're looking for. So you're going to narrow it down to that 8 to 12 rep range, uh, and the percentages you want to be in are a lot more broad, 30 to 80%. However, it's going to be completely different to like a cross country runner. They're doing single modality, long duration training, which you'll never touch as a bodybuilder. Okay, that's not hypertrophy training. Okay, so remember that SAID principle. What's the goal? Uh, Also remember, there's really no need to completely separate strength training from hypertrophy training. One of my favorite templates that I actually posted on TikTok is a pyramid style. It's been around forever. You just work your way up the percentages and back down. Go 60, 70, 80, 85, 80, 70, 60. Pick a weight at each percentages that's near failure or to failure, and blow that out. And then monitor how your body responds. Okay. If you get extremely sore, then do you need to overload the next week? Do you need to add more weight, more reps, and more sets the next week? No. I would do a little bit less or repeat what you did until you don't get sore from it anymore. All right. I know soreness is not a very scientific variable, but it's reliable. If if you're trying to get stronger or get bigger and you never get sore, not even a little bit, you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. Okay. Now, if you hospitalize yourself every time, you're doing too much. You don't want to be sore, say, for a solid week. If you're sore for a couple days maximum, that's probably okay. A little bit of soreness indicates that you stress that muscle and you're forcing it to adapt. All right. If you guys have any more questions, send them. Send them here on YouTube. Find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Check out my website, trainbydane.com. If you want more of these videos, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification and the like buttons.